This is gonna be a quick video showing my Ice Barrage custom crit build. Keep in mind the build is not finished. Keep in mind there are lots of skills, lots of items that I should be using which I'm not. But many people have been asking for a guide, many people have been asking for a video, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm streaming, but I'm not really playing this build at the moment. Kinda am, but I'm kinda not. Depends if I get a map group. But yeah, I'm just gonna do a quick Lunaris run and Merciless, a random run, nothing set up, and yeah, let's see what happens. No mobs are happening for sure. There we go. Okay, as you can probably immediately see, the build relies on chromatic, on custom crit with Frenzy and Ice Spear. Most of the mobs in this place are resistant, elemental resistant, cold resistant, all of that stuff. It can kinda mess you up with this build, but not really, unless it's like plus 75 cold resistance on a map mod. You shouldn't have any trouble, and even if it's a map mod, then you can just use arc instead of Ice Spear. It's kind of helpful. You don't freeze as much, and you don't have the life leech, which I'm gonna explain in 1 second. But you don't have the life leech, and you don't freeze as much, but you shock stack everything immediately. It's pretty good right now when it comes to shock stacking. You typically triple shock stack just because you get a lot. Well, the idea of the build is to get a lot of lightning damage on your gear. I should be using Wrath, but as I said, the build is not complete at all. It still needs a lot of levels, it still needs a lot of gear, especially when it comes to the mana gear, because I am using Mind Over Matter. Why I'm using it? Some people might look at this build and immediately think Reflect. Lightning Thorns are the bane of this build, but that's why we're using Mind Over Matter. I can pretty much off-screen anything, and that can be a problem. But when you're using Mind Over Matter and you reflect yourself, or you encounter Lightning Thorns, you immediately stop casting because you just don't have enough mana. So it's kind of you know, it kind of protects you in a sense. And also, yeah, you can run Arctic Armor, which I'm not at the moment because I can't really support it. I can kind of support it, but it's like level 14 and I don't have enough mana. It's kind of gear dependent if you want to run that. There's a mob with Fracture too. I didn't even notice it. So yeah, I explained my main ability. For circle target, I'm using elemental hit. I'm using elemental hit just because it can get a lot of crit. You can get 95% crit easily with elemental hit, along with accuracy gem with quality. It's very important to get quality on those gems. It's very helpful. Having quality on most of your gems is very helpful. I wouldn't say having quality Ice Spears is that big. It's always good to have, you know. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it's always good to have. It's also very situational, like when you encounter a really heavy reflect, like a double reflect, you might kill yourself. I killed myself on a build similar to this before, but I wasn't using Mind Over Matter, and I didn't have maxed out resistances, and we had a quad curse in the group, so I just killed myself. But that was completely my fault, and the build wasn't prepared at all for a fight like that. But yeah, for my single target, it is elemental hit with hopefully 95% crit. I don't have 95% right now, just because, as I said again, my gear is lacking and my levels are very lacking. I went for a more defensive route just because I wanted to do maps ASAP. I really wanted to progress with this character real fast. The state that I am in right now, level 82. Oh my god, this is not gonna be an easy mob. Double elemental resist. Okay, let's forget about him. There we go, that's a regular mob. Elemental resist as well, but you know, it's not double. As I said, I'm level 82. It's not high enough for this build. I think this build really caps out at like 90. That's when you really feel that it's working. Or so I expect, because I really have not that many crit nodes. Even though it looks like a lot of crit, it's not really many crit nodes. I went for health over crit, but it still works. I mean, as I said, if you're missing some deeps, you can always go Wrath instead of Discipline, not use Mind Over Matter. But that's kinda suicide. I wouldn't recommend it in a group scenario. When you're soloing, for sure, it's good. But you wanna really play this build in a group scenario just because you're using Conduit. It really helps the group. As I said, you're freezing everything, you're shock stacking everything. That's where all my mana regen is coming from, because I'm using Barrage's Grip. So if the target is frozen, I life leech. If the target is shock stacked, I mana leech 5% of all the damage I do. So that's where all the mana is coming from. That's where all the life leech is coming from. I was hoping to meet a reflect, and I was hoping this run to be a little bit longer, but it seems it's not. You can spam your potions. That's another thing. You can spam your potions because you have so much crit that you can just spam them, and you're always gonna have more. So armor is not really a problem because you can always pop a granite. Yeah, guess that's pretty much it for this. I'm gonna show you my gear just so people, well, some people might think that this is a very gear dependent build. It's really not. It's really not. You need like 20-30 chaos. I would say 30 chaos, just because you need the Barracks Grip and Tabula Rasa. Those are the core items of this build. And yeah, let's show you. I explained all of my items. I explained all of the stats that you need on every single item in the topic, but I'm still gonna go over them in this video. I think if someone's really interested in the video, he's still gonna continue watching. If you're not interested, then you're not listening, and you know, you didn't like the flash stuff before, and the deeps, the heavy deeps. So yeah, let's go. Your helmet, accuracy, as much resistance, as much maximum mana, as much maximum life, as much ES as you can get. Accuracy is really big with this build. It's really big. It's really difficult to get accuracy. I only have 84%. That's a problem. I think you really need like 90%, but as I'm going to say again, build is not finished. Needs more gear. Helmet's pretty good. Still, I would say like 5 chaos at most. I don't even have it qualityed up, so like 5 chaos. Shield, very basic shield. Life, a lot of resistances. That's all you need on a shield. I'm using this shield just because I needed the intelligence before. I don't need it anymore. Just because I got most of my intelligence nodes, so I don't need that anymore to use my wand. You can see I can pick it off. I can replace it with pretty much whatever shield I want. I recommend using a Suffolk's frame if you can get all of the resistance on your other gear. It's really helpful. It's really good against reflect, and it's a really good shield in general. If you can't use a Suffolk's frame, get a shield with lots of ES, just because it's gonna help your mana problems. I would say that's really good. But yeah, a shield that's worth like 3 chaos at most, 2 chaos probably. Oh, and like all of this gear except my gloves are still found. The gloves aren't still found because I needed them for this video to cap out my resistances, because I did some switching with my gear with my other character. But yeah, this is also self-found. It's a pretty good amulet. It doesn't have any life, sadly. It's a big mistake. It should have life. It should have lightning damage. It should have a lot of crit. And yeah, as much resistance as you can get. Spell damage is also a bonus, but spell damage is not really big with this build. I would recommend going crit multiplier over spell damage. But you can make your DPS really insane with crit multiplier. That's why I'm avoiding it at the moment. As you can see, I don't have that much. It's kinda dangerous. I'm not sure about how this build reacts in a group. As I said, a quad cursor can fuck you up a little bit, but it's really dependent. It's really situational. I'm using a tabula rasa. That's my 6th link at the moment. Of course, if you can get a Carnal armor, get something with ES, I would recommend a Carnal, just because you gotta get 4 green on it, and that's not easy on any other armor, and it gives you mana too, so that's really good. But yeah, if you can get a proper 6th link, you're all set to go, and that's really good. First ring, gotta use a diamond ring, gotta get that crit, get as much resistances, as much life, as much mana, as much energy shield as you can, and of course accuracy. I would say this ring doesn't have enough accuracy, but again, it was a pretty cheap ring. I bought it for like 4 chaos. No wait, I didn't buy it, I found it, never mind. I would buy it for 4 chaos, but yeah. My wand, this is a really good wand, that I'm gonna say. It's a really good wand when it comes to this build, because you need as much lightning damage as you can, and hopefully 11% crit. The crit on your wand is really big. Even though I'm missing 1% crit, that's 4% in general, and that gets multiplied by all the crit I get, which is really freaking. At the end of the build, you wanna have 95% crit on your frenzy, which is very hard to achieve unless you're like level 90, or as I said, you have insane gear. These gloves, terrible gloves, got them for 1 chaos. I needed cold resistance, I replaced my helmet with my other character, yada. And I just needed some gloves with cold resistance. You should get more accuracy, you should get more resistances. Life is okay. And you should be getting lightning damage, of course, on your gloves. Same as your rings and weapon. Belt. This is a okay-ish belt for this build. You should get more resistances for sure, especially if you're not using a chest like I am. Maximum energy shield really helps out. Get as much life as you can, and armor could help out a little bit as well. It's not mandatory because you always have a granite up, so you always have like 7k armor anyway, but it really helps out. Boots, get as much movement speed as you can. It might not be that big, but I like to play with a lot of movement speed. This build is very fun, very flexible, very movement based. Lots of attack speed, lots of movement speed, makes you feel really fresh. It's really cool. And yeah, as much resistances, as much life, as much ES, as much mana, as much movement speed as you can possibly get. If you can't afford the movement speed, get the other stats, they're very big. It's gonna slow you down a little bit, but as I said, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. Core item of this build, Barrage grip. It has pretty much everything that we need. It is a very big item for this build. You might not need it early on, like level 60, 65-ish, but level 70 plus, I really think there's no way around it. You gotta use this ring. Resistances on top, it's a tombstone ring. Cold damage, exactly what we need. Lightning damage, exactly what we need. Some life, it's not a lot of life, but you know, some life is always useful. 5% of damage against shocked enemies leached as mana. This is really big for us. As long as we're shooting, we're shock stacking constantly, and that makes our mana leech pretty insane. As I said, you don't have that much mana regen in the beginning, especially with crappy gear like me. You do not have enough to support Arctic armor, which is really big with this build, and Mind Over Matter, which is also a huge thing for it. So mana leech really helps, and it's really amazing for no region maps and half region maps, just because you know you can leech, and it's awesome. Second thing, 5% of damage against frozen enemies leached as life. Same thing. We're already using a 6 link, so getting a life leech into that is pretty much impossible. But since we're freezing everything constantly, we're constantly regening life. And yeah, you're not gonna have that much regen with this build. I don't have any regen at the moment. I'm kind of planning to get all of this, but I don't see it. I mean, it's too much. As you can see, I'm level 82 at the moment, and there's still so much I can get. I can get iron reflexes, I can get frenzy charges. Going up here, I can kind of get this and this and this and this, but it's not really that big of a deal. Getting crystal skin, kind of big of a deal. It's RNG, you know, but it can prevent your death. Gotta get all of this crit ASAP. I don't have this crit. I don't have any of this crit, and that's really big. That's really what you need with this build. If you get this and this and you have enough crit on your gear, you should be able to get 95%, which is the max, and that's really big. You don't need as much for your elemental hit, just because elemental hit gets a crap ton of crit from the quality. I'm also supporting it with crit multiplier. I prefer crit multiplier over crit chance, just because in the end game, yeah, I'm planning to have 95 from everything else, so the gem won't be needed. So crit multiplier is big. Additional accuracy, as I said, build has an accuracy problem. Not really if you have good build, if you have good gear, but at the moment I kinda have an accuracy problem, and you get a lot of crit out of it. Weapon elemental damage, nothing to explain. You gotta use it with elemental hit. At the moment my frenzy has 42% without power charges. With power charges I think it's 75, 76, and elemental hit, where's elemental hit? Elemental hit is 52, so yeah, it makes a big difference. Last thing, flasks. I think that's the last thing. Gotta get that shock flask, gotta get that dispel burning. You don't have to get. I recommend replacing this with a staunching flask. Honestly, sorry about my cat, by the way. Oh my god. I recommend using staunching instead of this. You don't really need the burning. You can use a freezing, but it's you don't get frozen as much as you used to anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. This is staunching, but it's you know, it's a sacred flask. It's not a hollowed flask, so that's pretty bad. Get a surgeon's granite, really big. Makes you have like 7k armor constantly. Mine's pretty crappy rolled, but I just couldn't get a better roll. I mean, I just couldn't get a better roll. Build's not complete, yada yada, excuses. Same with this. This is a pretty good one. 30 movement speed, and again, recharges when you deal a critical strike. You can replace this with warding instead of adrenaline. That's pretty big for you because you're constantly curse immune. That's what I would recommend, especially for maps. I typically replace my Quicksilver with this for maps just because of lightning thorns, but I would still recommend just using a warding flask. And yeah, thanks a lot if you survived to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I know it's not very professional, but this is the second video that I've ever made, so there's gonna be a lot of excuses, a lot of, you know, fuck ups and all of that. Hopefully some people are gonna enjoy the build, are gonna enjoy yeah, the idea behind the build more than the build, because as I said, you can put in different stuff other than Ice Spear in it. I prefer to use Ice Spear just because it works so great with Barrage Grip, but as I said, for ice resistance maps I use Arc just because it buffs your group by a lot, and you're already buffing your group by a lot just by using Conduit. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. Regular stream as always. Come stop by the stream, ask questions. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to answer questions about this build or any other build. Yeah, thanks a lot guys, and see you around.